Hello everyone, this is Mr. Kissinger, and we're going to do a quick video on the GCF and LCM, or otherwise that's the greatest common factor and the lowest or least common multiple. And this is a great video to help students see things again if they didn't get it the first time in class. It's also a beneficial tool for parents to see how this was taught. So in this one, the greatest common factor, I refer to this as the largest number that can go into both of these. And then the least common multiple is going to be the first time these two numbers, if I were to skip count, the first time that they're going to meet up. So again, like always, let's just jump into some examples. Now, I taught this two different ways, and so I'm going to show you both ways for three examples. Here's our first example for 9 and 12. And so the first one is called the rainbow way. And so I'm thinking of all the factors of 9. And I'm going from this number to this number. I'm just working all the way through the numbers in between. And I'll show you what I mean. 1 and 9, I'm going to put a little arc here. And then 2 doesn't work, it's not even. 3 does work. And actually 3 times 3 is 9, so I'm going to do something like that. So I see that. So my factors here are 1, 3, and 9. Now for 12, I have 1 and 12. Again, I'm going to make my little rainbow there. 2 goes into it since it's even. So 2 and 6. These numbers are getting closer to each other, and I like that. 3 goes into it as well. 3 and 4 go into that, and because there's no numbers in between here, I know I have all my factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. Now the greatest number that's the same, well, 1's the same, but 3 is going to be my biggest one that's the same. And so I call this the rainbow method for doing that. Now for lowest common multiple, we use what they're going to be very familiar with. It's called ratio tables. So let's do a ratio table here. And I'm actually going to do 9 and 12. I'm just going to put them both on this one post-it here. So I have 9 and 12. And all I'm going to do here is just skip count. So if you can add, you can do this. 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. And then 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72. Now I'm looking for the first time that they have the same number. And what I see here is 36 here and a 36 here. And there's no numbers that are similar off on the side to the left. So this is my least common multiple. My least common multiple for 9 and 12 is 36. Let's do no more examples. The next one is for 20 and 30. So if I were to do 20 and 30, the rainbow method would do it this way. 1 and 20. It's even, so I know 2 goes into it. So 2 and 10. 3 doesn't go into there, but 4 does, which is nice. And 4 and 5, and that makes life really easy because they're right next to each other, and I know that's my last set. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. So that is the factors for 20. Now for 30, 1 and 30, and 1 times 30, 2 times 15. So those work. 3 times 10, and those work. 4, nope. 5 does though. 5 and 6, and there we go. So looking at my factors here, I have 1's the same, 2's the same, and there's no 4 here. There's a 5 here, and there's a 5 here. That's nice. 5, 5, but actually 10 is going to be my biggest factor in both. I probably should have wrote all these out for you guys. Sorry about that. 5, 6, 10, 15, 30. Either way, we see that 10 is the biggest, greatest common factor for both of them. Now, for the least common multiple of both of these. We're going to have 20 and 30. 20, 40. We're just skip counting. That's all we're doing here. Just skip counting. And we might have to actually go further. Sometimes we don't put enough numbers on here to make that work. So 20, 40, 60, 30, 60. Well, there it is. It's at 60. So my least common multiple happens at 60. One last example, and then we're going to show the other way that we do this in class. So, for all of our examples here, 25 and 7. For the rainbow method, I have 1 and 25. 2 doesn't go in there. 3 doesn't. 4 doesn't. 5 doesn't. In fact, 5 just goes in to itself. Now for 7, 7 is prime, so only 1 and 7 go in. So my greatest common factor in this case is 1. So sometimes actually the rainbow method is a lot easier to see this, and we're going to show you that here in a second on how that's actually, the rainbow actually shows that the best. So my greatest common factor, GCF, is 1. That's the only number they share. The lowest common multiple, let's do this one, for 7 and 25. Well, this one's going to take a while for 7. And this is one of those horror stories where you just have to keep going and going and going and going, and you just keep going. 49, 56, 63, 70, 77. You just keep going, going, and you're eventually going to come to find out that well, let's do 25 for a second. 50, 75, 100, 125. I'm sorry I'm writing so small. The reason is this is such a small one. 175 is where they're going to meet. So often, and you'll find when your greatest common factor is 1, your answer is just going to be 25 times 7, which is 175. So here, our lowest common multiple is 175. Whenever your greatest common factor is 1, you can just multiply the numbers. If you could do this as a ratio table, but it's just going to take you forever to do that. So let's show the other way. And the other way was called Derek's Way by our book. And let's figure out how they do it. So we have 9 and 12. Get some more post-its here. 9 and 12. And this way is really smooth. So we have 9 and 12. And we're going to use prime factorization to help us out here. If you're shaky on this, then you need to go back and watch the video on prime factorization to help you get better at this. So I have 3, 3, 2, 2, and 3. 9 is 3 times 3. And 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. So in this case, the factors are the same. The first one, well, there's a 3 here. I see a 3 here, and there's a 3 here. And here I have 2 and a 2, and here I have a 3. So in this case, my greatest common factor is just going to be 3. That's all it is. Now, this next part, for lowest common multiple, what they do is they take your GCF, and then they multiply that by all these other numbers that were left behind. So we have a 3, a 2, and a 2. And our GCF was 3. So that was a 3. So 3 times 3, which is 9, times 2, which is 18, times 2, 36. And if we look back at our answers, what we found before, we found it was 3 for our GCF and 36 for our lowest common multiple. Let's try it for 20 and 30. So 20 and 30. Again, we're going to use prime factorization. I see that they end in 0, so I'm taking out that 10. There's a 2 here, that's prime. There's a 3 here, that's prime. I have 5 and I have 2. Both of those are prime, I'm circling those. And then same over here. So I have 2 times 2 times 5 here. 2 times 3 times 5 here. Now the numbers that are the same, I have a 2 that's the same, 2 that's the same, a 5 that's the same, and a 5 that's the same. So when I multiply those together, my greatest common factor is going to be 10. Now just like the same for our least common multiple, we're going to take that GCF, which is 10, and I'm going to multiply it by the two numbers that were left off, a 2 and a 3. 2 times 3 is 6 times 10, 60. And sure enough, 20 and 30, when I skip count, they meet at 60. Last example. We had 7 and 25. So let's take a look how this happens when numbers don't necessarily have too many common factors. So here, it's just going to be 1 and 7. So, I mean, 7's prime. Boom. I mean, that's it. That's all I can do. And 25 is 5 times 5. So my factors are 7, 5, 5. Now I'm looking for the same number, and there is no same number. So when this happens in this way, and this is why I think I mentioned earlier, the rainbow is actually better to see this one. Your greatest common factor is always just 1. Now, still works the same way for your least common multiple. It's going to be your greatest common factor, which is 1. 1 times 7 times 5 times 5, but anything times 1 is itself, so that just doesn't even matter. So 7 times 5 times 5, and we found out earlier that's 175. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys were able to use this to review the greatest common factor and lowest common multiple. Parents, I hope this was able to show you two different ways. Just whichever way the student gravitates towards, I think is best. Factors is definitely the more efficient, but if they're good at skip counting, then and skip counting in the rainbow, then I think that would work as well. Students, hope this was helpful. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much.